Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita, rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks and also working in a new ministry called Take Me As I Am Ministries. And that's going to be all about building people up, getting over the past and moving on to the future. So today I'm changing things up a little bit and going to be talking about successful people, not only in the workplace, but at home. Because even in my business books, I have made it a point to always talk about our personal life, how we got where we are, how to get where we're going, along with the actual business skills that we need to be successful. Because it really, our personal life definitely affects our professional life, and our professional life can definitely go back home and affect our personal lives. So this today is going to be more on building ourselves up, attitudes of successful workers, but successful people in general. I touched on a little bit of this last week, but wanted to expand on it and then move forward from there. So with the attitudes of successful workers, that's very, very important. It says you might think that just because other people have more of what it takes to succeed, well, what is that? That's defined differently by different people, like brains, like talent, like other powerful people in their corner, by the amount of education that they have. But you know, really there's nothing more important than attitude. And that has been proven so many times in the working world and in sports or any other arena, that the attitude is actually so many times so much more important. There have been studies done and writings on people who looked for a job. They really wanted a new career. They wanted something new and different. That's where their heart was, which means that's where they're going to excel the most. But you know, maybe they thought, well, I'm going up against people who have had like advanced degrees or had a lot of experience in a certain area, or can maybe even dress more professionally like most of the people in this company do, and I'm not sure if I can do that. And yet, sometimes the people who appear to be most qualified also maybe have a holier than thou attitude. They may be a little too proud, a little too arrogant, or just other issues. Or maybe they treat people a little less than they should be treating them. And so it's been said a lot of times, you know, you can train people on work skills if that's what they want to do and they're good at it, but it's really almost impossible to train a very successful person in the education and the experience area on a better attitude, a good attitude, one that is going to help them excel. So you might think, you know, well, gosh, I don't know. Attitude has been proven by so many people whose lives were horrific, that were very down and out, and yet they built up an attitude of positivity, of wanting to serve other people, do so many things that their attitude actually nailed the job. Because the interviewers and the managers, the bosses are thinking, you know what, this person is really enthusiastic, they're very focused on this, they really, really want to do this job, where the other person, sure, they have all the skills, but are they going to be hard to work with? Are they going to fit into this culture? Because as I talked about last time, culture has so much to do with if we're going to be successful in a particular group, whether it's of friends, at the particular company that we want to work for, whatever the case may be. So we always want to think about that and check the attitude. We want an attitude of gratitude. Now that's kind of hard sometimes when we're down in the pit, we're really going through a lot, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, trying to check my attitude. But if you feel like the attitude, especially when you're going out, communicating, working on a new career, a new job, whatever the case may be, maybe being an entrepreneur and creating your own business, attitude is everything. So stop and think about what your attitude is exhibiting projecting to other people when you're out doing those things, or when you're writing, when you're creating things on your computer. That a lot of times an attitude maybe spill out in something that's sarcastic, which is going to turn people off. So what is my attitude like right now? Because as I've mentioned several times, our attitude is going to rub off on people. We could have maybe a great attitude. We're all up today. We're ready to roll. And then we come across someone, whether it's a family member or someone at work that we have to work with, and their attitude is really in the in the toilet right now. And so what that can do is that can hurt our attitude. But what we should be doing is trying to stay strong, keep our positive attitude, and kind of maybe rub off on them. Share some of that positive attitude, project onto them good things. And so that's so important. So always want to do that with our attitudes. I have started something new. I'm working with it's a Good Life Global Ministry. And actually what I'm doing, I just started this, and we'll go into a leadership position, is working with women, all different lifestyles. Some might be going into jail or prison. Some have recently come out of it. And a lot of them are there because of addictions. I mean, there's other addictions too besides, like alcohol and drugs and things like that. And so, but it got them in trouble. And so it is the most beautiful experience I've had in a long time, because as I'm working with these women and I'm learning a lot from them, and they're working hard to break addictions, to start over, to create a new life. There were several babies there last night, and no daddies around. And so that one was only a week old. I was surprised. One's a month old, and I just love the mom there. That particular mom has had a really, really rough life, and across her chest in large tattooed letters are "hated by many, loved by few." And that almost made me start crying when I met her last week. And she's just wonderful, dynamite person, getting over being, trying to be healed of the daddy person leaving before the baby was born. And so I've never seen such an attitude, though, of gratitude and happiness. These women, a lot of them are living in places right now, facilities where they can go and start their healing process and work into life and career building skills, and then get their own homes and etc. And there's another lady there who has a 7-month little boy who's an absolute angel. He was the best little kid I've ever seen, I think. And she's wearing an ankle bracelet, so she can't go too far. And she's waiting for the judge to tell her if she will be incarcerated or not. And I couldn't quite catch where she's working, but she is doing some work right now. And so she didn't want to cover it up to her supervisor, so she told her supervisor exactly what was going on. And this young lady said, her supervisor said, "No, I want you here. I want you to keep going forward. You're doing a great job." And so it's a real blessing to see the attitudes of these women, to hear them share their struggles, what they're going through, what triggers can happen by something a person has said or done, or some sort of experience, and how they're fighting these triggers so they don't go back into the familiar, getting stoned out of their minds or whatever the case may be. So again, attitude is everything. They're working on their attitudes to go forward, to be positive, and no matter what has happened to them, they're moving forward. And that's what we have to do as far as an attitude to be a successful person, a successful employee, successful business owner, whatever the case may be. So think about the attitude, the energy you're projecting, and when people are projecting not so good energy at you, go, nope, I'm not accepting that. And then switching gears, switching minds, switching thoughts into those things that will be very beneficial for you. And so that is so important. So there's a Dr. Martin Seligman, who is authority on optimism. We know we need a lot of optimism in the world right now where things are so crazy, and discovered that attitude is actually a better predictor of success than the IQ, intelligence quotient, education, and many other factors. I did share a little bit about this, but I wanted to go back and focus on a few other things. So he found that positive people stay healthier, and that is so true, because when we're really negative, it can actually cause diseases, it can cause disabilities, and that's been proven. It can cause all kinds of things by having a negative attitude all the time. Oh, gee, I know a gal who said, oh my gosh, my knees hurt so bad, and I'm just really getting a little bit slow, and gee whiz, by next year I'll probably be having crutches or in a wheelchair. And I didn't say anything, but I thought, you know what? If that's what you're planning on, that's what you're going to get. By next year, you probably will be in a wheelchair if you don't stop this. I mean, I have a lot of health issues and a lot of pain, and really racked out my knees and my wrists last week when I flew across some cement and fell on the ground. But it's like, nope, I'm getting up, I'm going back. The lady said, can I help you up? And I said, no, I'll help myself. So anyway, we have to get stubborn, though, in going forward, knowing we are capable, knowing we are strong, and holding on to that attitude. So again, staying healthier, better relationships, and can go further in their careers. And also, quite often, they make more money. Now, there's a difference there, too. Yes, positive, optimistic attitude a lot of times will help us go up the ladder, get more customers, more clients, be more successful, get promotions in a company. However, that's by being positive, not by being coercive. Because sometimes if people have problems with control, and a lot of us have had control by a spouse, a partner, or could be a boss or whoever it might be, but when they try to coerce people by being threatening, by being really negative, that's the wrong thing to do, because a lot of times that will cause people to feel down and out and end up quitting their job instead of wanting to work for them. Because we should always be saying thank you. We should always be giving support. If we see somebody is doing something wrong, it's much better to correct it and show them the right way to do it. So, letting them know, hey, if you do it this way, this is really going to help get it done quicker, won't be such a hassle, something like that. But always be very supportive and trying to really help people. Nobody likes to be coerced and threatened. I know there's a lot of that happening in the world, and there always has been. But think of positive ways to have a good attitude that's going to help not only build yourself and your life up, but the lives of those around you, because it always comes back. So he said, anyone can adopt the right attitude. And some people will go, yeah, right, sure. No, it can't, but it can. And I know that personally for a fact. I know that working with these women, that anyone can adopt the right attitude if they make up their mind, I'm not going back there anymore. I'm not letting this person or that person treat me this way. I don't want to go back there. That door's closed. I'm moving forward. So we can adopt a right attitude. It takes work a lot of times, depending on where we've been, who we're around now, before we get away from that. But we can adopt the right attitude. And I'm seeing that over and over and over again as I work with more people that have been through a lot. And so no matter where you are from or how much innate talent you may have, the right attitude can make a difference in your career. So we all have an innate talent. Some people are numbers oriented. They like to crunch numbers. They like to do things like that. I'm more people oriented. I like to get out and speak and to minister and to help. We all have innate talents or gifts. Some people just have a natural music talent, whether it's playing instruments, singing, or both. Some have this talent inside of them that's very athletic. They love to play baseball, football, basketball, tennis, whatever the case may be. They have talents in that respect. So we all have innate talents, ones that we're born with, ones that light us up when we get to do them. because it's our natural talent. It's our natural ability. So think about that as well as far as the attitude, and then try adopting some of the attitudes that you see other people having in a line of work or an area that you want to be in. We watch. We don't try to emulate things that aren't really us. Like if we're a technical nerd, which is wonderful, I envy those people. But if it's somebody who's a technical nerd and yet we're thinking, oh, it'd make my dad so happy if I was a quarterback on a football team or something like that. No, if that's not innate within you, you can work at it, you can try for it, but we can't force ourselves to be someone we're not. And no one should ever be forced to be someone that maybe a parent or a partner wanted them to be when that's not who they really are, because it'll kick us in the backside in the end. So think about that as well. So try to adopt some of these attitudes I'll talk about now in your future. Again, like I've said so many times, people without arms, people without legs, they can play instruments of all kinds. I saw another person on, I think it was a Global Got Talent from America's Got Talent. And I mean, twice I've seen somebody who literally has no legs. I mean, like clear up to the joint. There's no hips, no nothing. And yet, bouncing across the stage, singing or doing athletics. Like this one guy was going up doing all kinds of athletic kind of things, and he literally only had half of his body. And he had such a joy. I mean, he had the joy of the Lord in him, and everybody was standing up and applauding. Did he let the fact that he only had half a body? I don't even know how he did it, but no. He had the right attitude, and he projected that to everybody, and everybody absolutely loved him for it. And you could see it as they spanned the audience, and so it was really cool. But that's what we do. And so a lot of times, you know, we've waited and waited a long time, and we think, well, it's too late now. I waited too long. No, my new book that hopefully will be out pretty soon from the publisher, Miracle in Your Mirror, Pursuing Your Passion at Any Age. And so I see people even on the America's Got Talent type programs, and a lady who was 80 years old, and she was dancing with a younger man, and I mean, he was flipping her around and, you know, doing all these kind of things. You think, what in the heck is she doing? But she could do it. That was her heart's desire. That's what she still wanted to do. So she did it. So if you want to start dancing and you're 80 years old, go for it. You know, get some lessons, have fun with it, because that's part of you. That's part of who you are. And you want to do things that are part of who you are. And so think about that. Don't give up. And so you'll make it to the top if you take charge of what's happening. Now, it may not be the top of, say, you know, if you want to be a brain surgeon or something like that. But all the testimonies I see of people that are miracle testimonies of where they started and where they ended, it's like nobody could ever tell me that someone can't be successful at any age. I just watched also a guy who must have been, I don't know, at least in the Korean War or something. Anyway, he had been a parachute jumper. And so he was 92. And he was strapped onto a guy who's like in the airborne. And they went parachuted because this was this guy's dream. He had been a parachute jumper during a war. And so they gave him his heart's desire. And that was to strap him onto another guy who could actually do it. It showed them landing. He had this great landing, you know, coming in, 92 years old. So, hey, you know, go for those things that are still in your heart to do. Anything is possible. I know a lot of times myself I've thought, yeah, right. No, not with the way things have happened in my life, but it really is. And so start watching those miracle programs, especially like on YouTube and different places, or Google, you know, programs with people who have no arms, no legs, or whatever the case may be, because it's amazing. And it will really perk you up to think, you know what, if they can do it, so can I. You know, sometimes I think we kind of get angry that, oh, gee, I've got to get out of the car and go into this place to grab my burger and fries, you know, because the line's too long on the outside or whatever. Like, oh, wow, how far we've come from what people have done. and succeeded in doing and saving the lives of other people along the way. So don't let fear get in your way. Fear is kind of like an acronym, false evidence appearing real. That's what some people say fear actually is, which is true. False evidence appearing real. And so we think about that, and sometimes we have different fears. All my life I've had a fear of rejection, failure, and abandonment. And when I was talking to these young ladies last week, and we were all sharing, and I shared that, and the girl across from me, the young mama who had that big tattoo on her chest about hated by many, loved by few, she said, yeah, and fear of success too. And she kind of startled me, and I went, you're right. And then I realized when I got home, this is just a week ago that this happened, I realized when I got home and I walked through the door, it was like God said, you have not had a fear of success, you have had this feeling all of your life that you were unworthy of success. And that really hit me. And I thought, you know what? I have talked to so many people, and of course I work more with women who have had that fear of success because they felt unworthy to have a better life, a better job, a better relationship, a better home. Unworthiness is everywhere. And it's filled so many people up. You hear the testimonies of how they grew up and what happened to them to instill that unworthiness in them, so that subconsciously, usually it's subconscious, we don't even realize it until we've gone through something to point it out to us, to get it out. So I'm working with them on inner healing right now, and it's helping me too, is that it's a wake-up call when they realize, you know what? I haven't pursued these things. I have all these gifts. I have all these talents. I deserve somebody that treats me better. But now I realize it's because I had this unworthiness deep down inside my subconscious that I didn't even know was there. And so think about that and really sit back and think about that, and possibly ways that you have felt unworthy. And that's why you maybe remained in the same situation, got in the situations in the first place, and then remained in them because of unworthiness. That is huge. It's in so many people, and it's time that we kick that out and go, I'm a child of God. I'm made in His image. I'm very worthy, because you are. Every one of you is worthy of so many blessings that maybe have not been allowed in up until now, but now they will be, because you think about that and you know that. And so always know whose you are. You're His daughter, His son, okay? Another thing he said is anything is possible, and I've already talked about that some, that if you don't think there's any way to get where you want to go, there's that saying, if you think you can or you can't, you're right. And then how he put it was, if you think you can't, you probably won't. Why? Because you've already told yourself that you can't. So why bother? I want this so badly, but no, why bother? Because I can't. I can't really compete with these other people. I can't really look nice enough in my mind in order to attract the right kind of person, whatever the case may be. But no, we can't think that we can't, because then we can't. And so always think about that and adopt the attitude of the little engine that could, that I mentioned again last program. And that's an old storybook. And this little train's trying to go around, and it's trying to go up this hill, and the hill's so steep, like life is for us. And it's like, chugga. This little train, like I can't get up the hill. And it's no, I think I can. And it finally made it up. Why? Because it said, I think I can. And it kept going. So even change, go from no, I can't to I think I can to then, by golly, yes, I can. And you keep going forward. And so just even think of that little train. I think I can. And so it did. It finally did. All right. So think about that and push through no matter what. No task is too small to do well. And that is so true. because you never know when you're going to be noticed. You could be doing something that you feel like is pretty menial. I mean, I see true stories of like janitors at school, and like one had been walking, what was it, 3 or 4 miles to work back and forth, didn't have the money for a vehicle, and then everybody just loved this janitor, so they made it a point to have a secret collection, got him a car, surprised him on his birthday with a car, and it just like he was totally overwhelmed. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. One of the gals I was with last night at the table I was at was, well, I didn't really know her, but then she was kind of sharing. She works in a disabled people's home. All right, so the people that she's working with can't do much. And first she started out, we were just talking, even things like self-esteem and our value and stuff. And she said, well, I have to clean the toilets because the young ones won't do it. And I don't know why they won't do it. I mean, she was a good person, but she was talking about cleaning the toilets. And then she was saying how she had to wipe people, clean them up, and they'd make a mess in their, sorry, but this is true life, their diaper. And about how cleaning them up, and a lot of people thought that was very menial, and we were all building her up. Said, you're taking your time, you are ministering to these people, you're helping them, you're blessing them, doing something that they can't do to make them feel better. And so we really worked with her that she was actually providing a beautiful service, first of all, is unto the Lord, and to never feel like it was menial what she was doing, because it was a gift that she was giving to others, and to be noticed. And people noticed how much good care she took of people, and wasn't one of these that just kind of did the minimal they could. So even think of, no matter what the job is, we're doing it as unto Him and not unto ourselves. So I'll share more with you next time. Have an awesome week, and just remember that you're made in God's image, and you can do everything that is set before you. Trust Him. Thank you.